How's it going, everybody? Welcome to FoundFlix. On this Inning Explained, we're looking at Together, where years into their relationship, Tim and Millie find themselves at a crossroads as they move to the country. With tensions already flaring, an encounter with an unnatural force threatens to corrupt their lives, their love, and their flesh. I wasn't too sure what to make of Together based on the trailer, as it really just didn't grab me. So imagine my surprise when it turned out to be one of my favorite horror flicks of the year. I think what really makes the movie work is how authentic the couple feels. Naturally, it helps that they are played by the actual married couple Bree and Franco. There's a lot of universal ideas represented in their relationship. Then there's the body horror aspect, which does have some quite disturbing and bizarre moments. It really does pay off on the horror and doesn't skimp out, as happens a lot. Overall, it's just very successful at what it was aiming to achieve. So let's check out Together, breaking down the story, its important themes, and explaining the ending. In a dense forest, there's a group of rescuers in search of a couple, Simon and Carrie. We see on the ground a massive hole with a strange bell at the top, adorned with a sun symbol. Inside the cave, a pair of dogs wander in, noticing some objects lying around. They step forward, seeing a body of water with gnarled roots reaching out. And both pups help themselves to a little drinky poo. A bearded guy whistles for them and discovers them staring intently at each other, frozen like statues. He later locks them in their kennel, and they are still locked in with each other. They continue their eyeball dance, and one starts panting, followed by whining and some quite otherworldly noises. The man's daughter hears them from inside the house, and he goes to investigate. He steps in, hearing more disturbing sounds, but can't make out what's happening in the dark. He flashes the light, seeing the two dogs beginning to horrifically fuse together. Someone sure likes the thing, I'd wager. Whatever happened here, it was definitely the water in that cave that was responsible. We then meet longtime couple Tim and Millie, getting an insight into their own strange form of codependency. They're throwing a party for their upcoming big move, and Tim digs through some records. He finds some old photos of the pair over the years, and then another of his parents that gives him pause. Millie busts in and tells him to come along, their friends are all waiting. She mentions everybody loves that they are wearing matching outfits, and well, they ain't wrong. Tim asks for a second and quickly changes his jacket. No matching allowed. Millie is discussing things with her bud Kath. Are you sure that he wants this? Yes, he's excited, Millie insists, and defends that she does love Tim, but he hasn't really been himself lately. How long has it been since they've been intimate? What she really needs to find is a good country boy that'll fuck her right. Yeah, thanks for the advice there, Kath. Tim hangs out with some other bros on the balcony, and they're surprised to hear that he still does his music. Yeah, he's working on something and is gonna self-release it this time. No label for me. He heard they actually just booked a tour, and one dude is all, yeah, bro, you gotta get on a label. They book you for all kinds of stuff. Tim is all, yeah, a label, I'll just go pick one of those up real quick. The dudes actually need a guitarist for their upcoming tour, but with the move, didn't think that Tim was available. Tim grumbles that, well, he could check with Millie. The blonde guy, apparently her brother, was hopeful that when they started dating, he might make her cool, but instead she just took over him. Fuck you, he snorts, and the guy shrugs that when he dies, he doesn't want someone else's life flashing before his eyes. Millie beckons to him from inside, and Tim hastily agrees to the tour. That's dope, they say, but be aware there's gonna be lots of rehearsals. He's confident they can make them. It's not that far to the city, really. Kath disagrees. It is pretty far, and well, Tim can't even drive. He bumbles his way through a goodbye to the crowd. He's scared, but mostly excited about this next step. He doesn't notice Millie taking a knee and proposes with her hand and no ring. Tim is obviously taken aback, asking if she's joking, and things get uncomfortable real fast. Millie starts to close the box, and he rashly agrees. Yes, of course. Kath starts to limply clap, and well, that didn't go so well. They're at odds later, and she again makes sure that he still wants this, and if they don't split now, it'll only be harder later. He's confused. Does she want to split up? No, but he's been so distant since, and trails off. She admits that it's the first time that he's made her feel unsure. Of what, he wonders? Well, if they truly do love each other, or are just used to each other. Kind of the whole thing with their relationship. Is it love or just comfort after being together for so long? She makes a move, and Tim pulls away, blaming it on drinking. They exchange I love yous, and she rolls over unsatisfied. She then goes for the jugular. Everyone knows you need me more than I need you. Resenting her doesn't make him any less of a failure. Tim is hurt, and she wants him to ask them to leave. Who? She can't sleep, and they're staring at us. He looks down the bed, and a lady is there smiling insanely along with a body next to her. He lifts the sheet, and they appear underneath with glowing eyes. It was all a relevant dream, and he wakes up already at their new house in the country. He is still shaken up by the dream, asking does she think he resents her? And she scoffs, well, now I do. He excuses that he's half asleep and saves it. Oh, it's because he's looking at his dream girl. Phew. He digs through a box, finding a jigsaw, and thinks maybe he can fix the back porch. His dad never let him use his tools. Someone Unrelatedly, Tim is overtaken by a strange smell from somewhere. He finds the source in a light fixture, and removing the housing makes it more potent. Tim finagles into the hole and removes a pack of rats, all twisted together by their tails, a rat king as is known. He tosses it off into the woods, and she is curious. How did he know to even look for that? He stays silent, staring off into the trees. Millie starts a new teaching gig and meets another friendly fella, Jamie. He's surprised that someone of her talent wanted this small town gig, but Millie is hopeful that she could actually do some good with a smaller class. She reveals that she moved out here with her boyfriend or partner or whatever. Conversing further, Jamie realizes that they are neighbors. He's in the yellow house just down the street. Later, Tim idles away on his guitar, and Millie checks in on him. She asks if he's going to come to bed, but he declines. He's got to learn his parts for that gig. About tomorrow, they do that hike in the woods that she was talking about. Later on his own, he sips wine and looks up to the fixture, still hearing faint rat squeaks. They do go on a hike, and it's quite peaceful and serene. They then reach the end of the trail, it seems, and are confused. Did they miss something? Tim notices a nearby bell, the same from the hole, but it's quite overgrown. There's another down the way, and he's confident. We're good. And there is kind of a path there. Come on, he encourages. They can always turn back. And plus, it's so nice out. Naturally, they run right into a torrential downpour and soon find that they are lost. Tim has an idea and uses his phone to find north, but what are they supposed to do with that? He has no idea. So, thanks for nothing. This looks right, he declares, and trips, falling right into the hole, grabbing onto the bell. She tries to help him up, and they both inevitably tumble down into the cave. Tim loses his phone, upset. His demos are on there. Millie is annoyed. Oh, and I'm okay too, by the way. Tim peers around and feels something. It feels crowded, she chimes in. He clicks a lighter on, seeing what looks like pews and other things merged into the rock walls. He wants to see how big the place is and shouts out, his voice echoing. Well, she asks. Pretty big, he concludes. Yeah, he is a bit useless. We see more of that when he attempts to build a fire using tips from Man vs. Wild. He quickly gives up and lets her take over. They're both thirsty and all they have is a small bottle. Well, what about that enticing pool of darkness? She isn't so sure. Man vs. Wild, he smirks and takes a big drink. He determines it's okay and fills up the bottle. Importantly, she doesn't ever drink any of it. Later, they have a fire going, and she knows from the lighter that he's been smoking. Well, she has too. And both admit they started back up right before the move. They both can't help but think about the Rat King thing from the other day, and Millie can feel that there is something more to the story there. And as it turns out, there is quite a bit of trauma for Tim regarding smells. When he was a kid, his dad came home from work complaining of a smell in his room. Little Tim cleaned it only for this to happen over and over. Then one day he came home from school, and his dad had finally found the source, a dead rat. It was in the warm light and was essentially gradually cooking it. It was so subtle over time that he couldn't even tell that it was there, breathing in its rotting carcass every night. Surprisingly, Millie hadn't heard that story before, and he himself had forgotten all about it until he found that nest. Sometime later, he went through his own foul smell ordeal, not just a smell, but a taste in the air that was thick, coming from his parents' bedroom. He opened the door to his mom smiling and her husband dead in the bed. She had woken up, found him gone, and her brain snapped in that moment. She kept going to bed with that face and horrible smell, choking on the taste of him, and didn't ever notice, just like him with the rat. To her and him, they were just breathing in fresh air. He gets teary-eyed. Finding that nest was like opening a window between our house and that night. Now I understand why he was having nightmares about his parents after experiencing that. Yikes. They manage to get some sleep and the storm passes. There's a low rumbling and wind rustles down in the cave, almost as though the cave itself is breathing and alive. Tim wakes up and starts breathing heavily. The wind picks up and the breathing starts to match his own, freaking Tim out. He breathes in again and the cave does the same. The cave's moving in and out and it really does appear alive. He looks to Millie and she's breathing in a strange short manner. He wakes up for real this time and they just want to get home. They go to move and see that their legs have stuck together. What is it? Mildew or something, Tim suggests. Man, he really doesn't know much about anything, huh? They painfully separate the skin, peeling away a slimy substance. The floor is sticky too. His shoes stuck to the ground. They heave their way out of the hole and get back to the surface to much relief. We focus on their legs and his injury is much more prominent, an actual gash in the skin. Remember, only he drank the water. It doesn't take too long before it starts to affect him. Millie requests a shoulder rub and he holds out his hand, something stopping him at first. He begins massaging, the skin twisting, and he's miles away. He digs his fingers in deeper, the sound becoming distorted. He keeps going and it's too intense. She slaps his hand away, telling him that was too hard. She notices that he doesn't look so good and Tim thinks that he just needs some sleep. She wants to head into town. He offers to come along and she's all, nah, you stay back. Maybe a nice shower is in order. She drives off and stops at the roadway. While in the shower, Tim's eyes glaze over and he falls into the wall. She takes a turn and his body follows suit, following her movements, he's literally being drawn to her physically. He's hunched into a corner, shaking and convulsing. She moves on and he's flung into the glass. The door slides open and he's violently slammed around, twisting into unnatural positions. It gets more intense, his head vibrating and cracking the tile. He suddenly snapped out of it, gasping for air and confused. Concerned by this, he visits a doctor. He assumes it must be anxiety or a panic attack and brings up his mother's mental illness. But Tim knows that this is different. He's not like her. It's laid out plainly that he had a dangerous experience, and with no one to help, his anxiety spiraled into a physical response. Thusly, he's prescribed some muscle relaxants. Even if the brain panics, the body will relax, shutting down the feedback loop. Doc brings up that missing couple. He's lucky they didn't wind up like them. That was the biggest news story around these parts in a long while. Oh, more exciting than some guy watering his lawn. He's serious. They had to send in a search team and everything. This sends Tim down a rabbit hole about them, also featuring an article on lawn watering. Only made it to number 2 there, still front page news, I guess. He searches Facebook for Carrie and finds a bunch of comments on their last post, hoping that they are found. And of course, the couple is like them in many ways. Millie pops in asking if he's ready for tomorrow. You can cancel, you know. But Tim knows that is not an option. If he doesn't show up, he can kiss the tour goodbye. She sees what he's been searching and Tim fills her in. How sad to post something like "nature is my home" and get 23 likes. That's their post and that's it. So if he does die tonight, what's the last post? It's the two of them together at the house. "We took the plunge." So basic, he laughs, but she defends it's all basic and no one really cares. Plus you love it, she knows. What would be a better final message? BRB, dying. There's a knock at the door and they genuinely have no idea who it could be. It's Jamie from school with an official welcome to the neighborhood. He doesn't want to intrude, but Millie insists that he does. They tell him all about what happened out of the woods, and Tim sees an opportunity to get some info. Has he seen anything out there? It all gave him cult vibes. Jamie laughs it off, and Tim details that they were in a cave with a giant bell and pews in the wall and everything. It had to be something. Jamie reveals, well, there was a chapel out there, but it collapsed many years ago. In the middle of nowhere? Yeah, some new age hippie shit. Yeah, cult vibes, exactly, Tim concludes. What happened to them? Mass ritual death, he says, but he's just joking. He isn't too sure, actually, but it is hard to recruit people when your church is underground. He goes for the bottle, and Tim takes it, refilling his wife's glass. Clearly jealous, Jamie compliments Tim's cooking, and Millie half jokes that he's so good that she never learned. Tim gets a bit tense, and if not for her, he would have learned to drive. That's a pretty good deal, he smirks. She gets a personal chef, and he's trapped here. Yikes. Trapped, Millie asks. Well, he can't even go to the train unless it's on her schedule. She's annoyed now. No one is holding you hostage, and he fires back, yeah, hostages don't have to cook their own meals. Jamie interjects with a different viewpoint. It actually sounds like they complete each other in a way, but wisely decides it is a good opportunity to jet. He gives Millie a hearty hug on the way out, and Tim is jelly. Oh, he likes you, eh? She thinks he's just being friendly. Tim is physically drawn to her once more and goes for a kiss to her surprise. They start getting hot and heavy on the making out. Their lips get stuck, and she pulls back. Did you bite me? You're all over me, and then something's off with him since they've been here. He tries to defend himself, and she's tired of the excuses. If you don't want to fuck me, Tim, just say it. Later in bed, Millie is awoken by creaking noises, but nothing seems out of place. She feels something, telling Tim dreamily to get off her hair. She tells him again, roll over, you're on my hair. She looks over, barely making out Tim there wide-eyed. She flips the light on, seeing he's choking down her hair like a vacuum. He suddenly wakes up and tries to pull away, tearing her hair in the process. He hacks it up, and both eye each other in absolute befuddlement. What the hell was that about? The next day, he gets ready in the mirror. He finds a hair still stuck in his teeth. He starts pulling it, and it's quite long, leaving him again wondering what is happening to him. She doesn't want him to go. He's been acting, well, you know, crazy. He's focused on the gig, though. Come on, we can't miss the train. Dropping him off like a child, Millie offers the half-hearted encouragement. It's gonna be great. Hey, why not just stay the night? He can catch up with his friends. No use coming back here and feeling trapped. Tim says that he didn't mean it like that, but she feels that maybe some space is good. Escape, be free, to which he agrees. She peels off, leaving him, and as soon as she drives away, his breathing gets heavy again. She drives further away, and it gets more severe. The train is her chug it up, and he takes a pill. He takes a seat, his heart pounding in his ears. He tries to fight it off as the train arrives. Ultimately, he leaves, seeing his stuff left behind at the stop. Meanwhile, Millie finishes up class, and one girl, Anna, is the last to leave. She notices a drawing she's made, and Millie is curious. Are these your dogs? Not anymore, the girl says glumly, and sees them fuse together, which must be that same pair from the opening. Tim wanders the street absolutely losing it, and appropriately, Millie chats with Kath, who feels the same. She wants to come up and visit, and Millie relays that her parents are coming this weekend for lunch. She lays further into Tim. He's a 35-year-old that still dreams of being a rock star. Millie defends that he's a good guy, Why? Izzy, she presses. She remembers a million years ago on their first date. She told him that the Spice Girls are her favorite band. And then on their second date, he brought her their Spice album on vinyl. See, he cares. Kath too recognizes this was from like a decade ago. What has he done lately? Not much. To make matters worse, he appears outside in the playground all sweaty and crazed. She rushes out to collect him and ushers him into a bathroom. She's frustrated. What are you doing here? He heaves that he needed to see her. He was thirsty all over, but not now, not with her. He starts kissing her passionately and Millie is into it. Tell me you want me, she whispers. They make their way to a stall and finally do the deed, quite long overdue it seems. It's also important as there was an exchange of fluids here, meaning the cave water is now in Millie's system. Even if a bit odd, the couple are both pleased to finally have some intimacy. Things are spoiled when they try to separate, but their parts are stuck together. They try to pull away, but Tim cannot get out. She silences him as someone enters. It's a little boy that quickly runs away. She knows they need to get out of here now and tells him it's gotta happen. She apologizes and rips him out of there looking quite uncomfortable. There's one insert shot of his dick getting stretched and it's just you feel it in your bones and your boner. The door opens again and she tells him to hide his feet. It's Jamie who knocks at the stall seeing if everything is okay in there. Millie pulls herself together and faces her peer. She starts to apologize and the door begins swinging open. You know this room is for little boys, right? Then he notices blood trickling down her leg and sends the boy away. This lets her off the hook. Just try to get to the staff bathroom next time and you might want to clean up. She notices the blood trail and goes to tend with it. Yet as he leaves, Jamie spots Tim's feet coming down and knows what's really going on here. Now word from this week's sponsor, Factor. Fall is officially upon us, and as the days get shorter and the year winds down, it's not always easy to find the time to cook. That's where Factor comes in. Their chef-prepped, dietitian-approved meals make it easy to make yourself a satisfying meal in minutes. Now they have a wider selection of weekly meal options, including premium seafood choices at no extra cost. And now you can try more globally inspired flavors influenced by China, Thailand, and more. With all the choices and nutritious meals, that's why 97% of customers say that Factor helped them live a healthier life. For me, I just love how easy they are to make, and it is more than enough to satisfy your hunger. Eat smart at factormeals.com/ending50off and use code ending50off to get 50% off your first box, plus free breakfast for 1 year. That's code ending50off at factormeals.com for 50% off your first box, plus free breakfast for 1 year. Get delicious, ready-to-eat meals delivered with Factor. Offer only valid for new Factor customers with code and qualifying auto-renewing subscription purchase. Back at home, she's pissed. She could have been fired or maybe even arrested. He defends that he didn't make her do anything, and well, the whole not fucking her for months thing has certainly played his part. They bicker about how he gave up his dreams for hers. But really, in the end, he doesn't have a life. If he feels trapped here, then just leave. Tim really feels that he can't. He isn't feeling okay. His brain and body aren't talking. She still doesn't get it and is off to clean up his mess as usual with Jamie. Tim sheepishly asks if he should tag along, and she growls that she can't make all of his decisions for him. She's not his mother. What's that supposed to mean? Living with something dead. Ooh, really hit the core there. Millie knows they're neighbors and finds Jamie's house, trying to apologize again about earlier. He brushes it all off, but she gets upset. Her and Tim just had a big fight. It's now his turn to insist that she come inside and chat. She spills that she's feeling moving out here was a mistake. She and Tim just haven't been on the same page. Maybe she's just too scared to admit it. Jamie asks the real question at hand here. Do you love each other? I mean, yeah, of course she does, but she doesn't remember a life before Tim. Maybe they're just complacent. Jamie considers that complacent can sometimes mean harmony. He goes into detail about a quite bizarre concept that he apparently teaches to his class that came from the philosopher Plato. He wrote that humans were actually created initially with 4 arms and legs and a head with 2 faces. Old Zeus was worried about our power, so he split us into 2 separate parts, dooming us to spend our lives searching for our other half. If she found that in Tim, don't be so quick to let it go. Well, Plato says so, she chuckles and inquires, is he here by himself? Jamie reveals there was the 2 of us when they bought the house. They had similar issues as them and the same fights. He even walked away at one point and found it liberating. He had the freedom to do whatever he wanted. Well, what did he do? Nothing, he laughs, and did not know how to exist without him. For better or worse, he was himself because of his partner. She remarks that you must miss him, noticing 2 rings on his finger. He has a tape of his wedding he wants to show her, but she has to leave as Tim shows shows up in the window looking like a lost puppy dog as usual. He apologizes and says he literally didn't know where else to go. He tries to hold her hand and she sort of takes it, but then fully clasps. Maybe what Jamie said had an impact. Plus, she's starting to be affected by the cave water as well. Tim is back at his computer and scrolls through a bunch of messages annoyed at him for not showing up. He shouts for Millie, "You ready for bed?" He gets no answer and finds her already asleep. He apologizes again and wishes that he could be what she wants him to be. He takes a pill and returns to his studio. He's back to researching that couple and finds a geodata from the photo. Then there's a creaking heard from upstairs moving along the floor. The coordinates show it's quite close to where their house is. He zooms in on the picture and can actually see one of those sunbells. And with that revelation, the internet signal abruptly cuts out. There's a loud bang at the door, and Millie appears running her face along the glass. She rises up, blood dribbling from her nose. She continues sliding along the glass and starts quickly vibrating. She leans in and her feet rise into the air. He swings the door open and she falls right on top of him. He shouts to wake up and she's still going at him. He smacks her, which knocks her back to consciousness. "What are you doing?" she asks in confusion. "What am I doing?" They discuss things after and she chalks it all up to being stressed. He knows it's the same thing that happened to him from the cave and now it's in her too, and also brings up that couple had the same thing happen to them. She says she feels fine, but it's because she's awake right now. It's like when your mind gets tired, the body takes over. She isn't buying any of this madness, even when he points out how their legs got stuck together and then they couldn't separate after sex. He tries to show her, "Put your hand up to mine and try not to touch it. It's like magnetic." She goes to leave and suddenly stops in her tracks. He knows why she stopped. The moment she got there, she wanted to stop. He could actually feel her feeling that. She argues that doesn't make any sense, but he feels differently. There's a pull, a thirst in her bones, something that has imprinted them on each other. It has to be the cave, he rants. He wants to go back there to hopefully get some answers. She reminds him her parents are coming this weekend, and maybe he shouldn't be here. He's confused and she clarifies, "I don't want you." She stares off and there's a trail of her blood making its way all the way across the table to him in a clear trajectory. They head to bed in their separate rooms, but can't be kept apart for long. Later, he's being dragged down the hall. He starts waking up and his body is definitely working against him. His bones crack and he is unable to fight back. His stomach gurgles, seeing something violently writhing within. He attempts to stabilize himself on the wall, which works for a moment, until Millie's door jingles open to darkness. She emerges leaning backwards and starts sliding towards him. Her legs pretzel back and Millie cries, "Why is this happening?" She keeps bending and twisting her body. "Fight it," Tim encourages. Both flip over and their hands touch, which quickly starts melting together into one. He tells her to get the pills from the dresser as their arms become further intertwined. She gets the bottle and they work together to get it open, spilling all over the place. They don't know how many to take, just take them. "Oh, and if we snort them, they'll kick in quicker." They do a bunch of bumps and put their feet together, trying to push them apart. They push with all their might and the pill kicks in, Tim saying in a dreamy tone to keep pushing. He comes to in the morning with Millie right on top of him. He takes in his surroundings, seeing he's taped to the chair with the jigsaw right by, and their arms are still connected. The plan is clear, and they need to act now while the drugs are still in their system. She gives him some whiskey for the pain, but regrets it as she can actually feel it too. "Remember when you said you weren't holding me hostage?" She's adamant they have no choice here. If they don't split now, it's gonna be harder later, just as they said before the big move, now in a different context. Millie turns on the jigsaw and it goes wild, not really boding well for her cutting skills. Yeah. She cranks it on again, gasping, "I'm doing it!" "Do it," he spits. Just about to, she apologizes for not believing it before. Obviously this is real. She starts sawing away, and I can imagine that does not feel too good. The makeshift surgery does work for now, and the pair are able to separate, having some food and looking exhausted. They dump out the bottle and there's only 2 pills left, so that's not gonna last long. She wants to go to the hospital. She did saw off their arms partially, but he still wants answers at the cave. Millie remembers that she left her keys at Jamie's, and Tim decides to stay behind. You know, keep their distance and all. She urges him not to do anything stupid, and we already know exactly what he's gonna do. As soon as she's out of sight, he grabs some supplies, a flashlight and a rope. Millie rings the bell at Jamie's, and now see the bell has the church's sun logo. Meanwhile, Tim returns to the caves, his feet sticking to the floor. He scans the walls, hearing something strange in there with him. Millie searches for Jamie. In another room, sees what looks like that wedding video he wanted to show her before. She approaches the TV and sees the church and bell back when it was still above ground. Tim trains the light on the wall, seeing an old painting featuring 2 people connected, and she sees the same in the video. Jamie and his partner place rings on each other in front of the congregation. They open some cellar doors, revealing the watering hole within. They have a drink and then hold hands before slicing into their respective arms, and the fusion process already begins. They kiss and everyone applauds. Millie is startled by Jamie emerging from the shadows. "That was the happiest day of our lives," he remembers. He has her keys and don't worry, he's gonna give them back. She wants to know, what is this? this, and he beams, the start of something wonderful. A hand reaches out and grabs Tim's leg. He gets stuck to the ground and can't move as a hideous mutation crawls towards him. Jamie continues. They too were scared at first. Everyone is. And it's only a lucky few that become a complete whole. She screeches she doesn't want this. He entices. It's a deeper connection than can ever be imagined. No more walls and shared fears and memories. She yowls to stop it, and he smirks. It's already happening, and you would not like the alternative. We see what must be that alternative as a disfigured mass of flesh, formerly the missing hikers, lumbers towards him. Seeing a knife in its neck, she must have tried to kill him before they fully combined, and this is the unfortunate result. Jamie apologizes, but it is best to be open to each other. It will hurry the process along. He takes her arm and slices deep. She smacks him away, and his head is cut in twain. He urges to allow the happiness to flow through you. It will be so warm as his head begins to reconstitute. Help me, the beast croaks. Tim grabs a knife, slicing off some fingers, and makes a run for it. Come back, it croaks. She makes it back home just as he too arrives. She waves him away, don't come any closer, but she starts sliding towards him anyway. A huge force takes over and they quickly slide across the gravel. She grabs a bench and holds on tight. Tim thinks after what he saw down there, he knows how to stop it. He gets to his feet and shambles closer. We can't fight it together. He is certain there is only one way to end this and goes for the knife, but he instead takes a knee and proposes with his hands just as she did before. She chuckles, are you fucking kidding me? Tim cries that he was nothing without her. He was miserable, incomplete, and cold. All that time wasted on his BS dreams that will never come true. But really, babe, you were the dream come true. He's sorry that it took so long. He sucks, but he really does love her so much. I love you so much, she sobs. He intends to sacrifice himself to save her. It will only end when one of them is dead. Just drop it, she pleads, and he notices a trail of blood. She is bleeding profusely from the wound and will soon be gone herself. You gotta run, you gotta be free, she tells him weakly. I'll never be free from you ever, he states gravely. She asks him to promise one thing, make my final post, BRB dying. Both let out pain chuckles and she starts fading away. Tim carries her inside and plops her on the couch and she's looking a little better. What have you done, she gasps, and he explains that it was the only way to stop the bleeding. She sees their hands fuse together again. No, she cries, I was trying to let you go. Did you wanna, he asks. No, she smiles and sheds a tear. Tim flips through the records and you know what he's going for. Her favorite album, right? Spice Girls. They get to their feet and share a romantic slow dance while When Two Become One starts playing. Are you sure you want this? I do. And both disrobe. They start making out as the song swells. His hands rub under her skin, stretching the flesh as they intertwine further. His arms disappear into her back and the bones crack, creating a fusion of flesh. Their lips are entirely connected as they meld together. Their eyeballs get close and the lashes attach and suction into one. We are treated to a full shot of them mid-fusion and it's pretty disturbing, just grody boy. This moment is a weird kind of representation of them getting married in a way, saying their vows and a first dance and everything, but here it is a marriage of the flesh. We pick up sometime after their transformation with Millie's parents coming over for lunch. The table set for 3. They arrive blissfully unaware of what they're about to see. Ma rings the bell, noticing they are now sporting one of the church's signature ones. The door opens to Timley, I don't know, but they are certainly confusing. You can see each of them combined into this new form, and yeah, it's just weird. They say hello, and we end on that reveal. I would be curious what her parents would say. Do they just explain what happened plainly? Oh yeah, we drank this cave water and transfused into one. Pass the rolls. I don't know, but it's funny to imagine how that would go. In the end, it appears that the couple is happy with their new situation, as they have the belt out there, implying they are now proud members of the cult, just like Jamie. It seems that ultimately this was a good thing for them, and they do truly indeed belong together. That'll do it for this Ending Explained for Together, and if you have any requests, send them my way in the comments or any of my social media accounts. Make sure to like, subscribe, and follow. Thanks for watching FoundFlix. See you next time.